But what is not being talked about is that some of the other agencies of government, I know, for instance, the Ministry of Finance is driving an efficiency unit that's making sure that we cut down savings. Ministries, departments, and agencies. So at the end of the year, let's measure that. Let's see, come in at the end of the year and say, okay, we've saved 15%, not from total disregard, or not from, say, maybe you totally avoided doing major investments, but getting efficiencies from major projects itself.
Okay, Mr. Akpata, this conversation will continue in just a moment. Let's go and catch our breath and clear our throats and come back. The conversation with Mr. Uyi Akpata continues in just a moment. Stay with us.
ExaminesThe.com is your most trusted news website, using responsive design for a richer user experience. Get the latest information as it happens: politics, sports, business, entertainment, health, and more. Access our content on all our social media platforms. To access the world, you only need ChannelsTV.com. The news at your fingertips.
Welcome back. You're watching Business Morning on Channels Television. Concluding moments now with Mr. Uyi Akpata, who is the country and regional senior partner, West Africa, with PricewaterhouseCoopers. And we're talking about the cost of corruption. Mr. Akpata, thank you so much for sticking around. So let's take a look at how the impact of corruption on investments and human capital. That was also highlighted in that report. Could you expand more on that?
I mean, one of the issues we talk about when we say corruption is that of nepotism. Imagine getting the wrong people, maybe my countryman in quotes, as they say. So at the end of the day, you are not having the right investment in human resources and human capital, and the overall impact is development. Getting the wrong man for the job means productivity is reduced. So what this what our corruption reports show that in countries where there's been general level of corruption, the human capital level or contribution has been seen to be significantly low. We selected 3 countries for these reports as means of comparison: Ghana, Colombia, and Malaysia. Because, primarily because these countries have had history of corruption in the past and have deliberately adopted policies that resulted in significant changes in their CPIs, so that we could see that telling difference as it's related to their GDP.
You seem to have had an issues with those slides, but hopefully we'll get around them. Now, can leakages be effectively blocked? Because that's one of the main issues at the moment. We have numerous leakages, and that's what the federal government has been fighting. Or can it be blocked?
When you say block, I mean it can be significantly reduced. The Treasury single accounts policy that has just been put in place has made telling differences. Just that action and implementing it has made telling difference. Let's take that to the next level. Let's make ministries, departments, and agencies to be truly accountable. So at the end of the day, you are going to say, if this project costs me $1 million, you're going to be sure that it's actually value for money, not that an invoice was provided. Could I have done it for 800? So as I said, I'm aware of the fact that the Ministry of Finance, led by the Honorable Minister of Finance, is looking at this, and that is one of the key drivers that we're taking. It's a long battle. It's going to be a combination of these control mechanisms and attributes and just general awareness and perception of the population. A situation where we have 9 out of 10 people, if you have a relation in government, you expect that person to perform on your behalf rather than perform on behalf of the state. That's something that is totally unacceptable. And the more we begin to drive that consequence of those actions, like what we are discussing today, the more hopefully people will believe that we should be doing things right.
Well, a lot of people would say it's all talk. Let's talk about how let's talk about the practicality of it. It's not just talking about it, but being practical and ensuring that what we say is what we do. You mentioned the efficiency unit already. We have the TSA that has come on board, although there's some ministries and some organizations, or agencies rather, who feel they should be exempt from that TSA. But what practical way, apart from this two that have been mentioned, can actually come to light that will make, that will help reduce the cost of corruption?
No, I mean, as I said, ultimately, I mean, you will pardon me if I'm relating some of the quick wins I'm talking about to the finance and controls related issues. But clearly, the legal framework has to be very strong and give us a few examples. I mean, people are waiting for all these numerous cases of corruption to see at the end of the day that we actually have a situation where somebody, having gone through the legal processes, has to pay the price for that corruption or what that person. So that will set good example that you cannot get away with it. But I am more prescriptive. I want a situation where these are actions to prevent people from actually having those opportunities. At the end of the day, the incentive and climate is there where you don't have proper controls. For instance, if we say next year, before any ministry, department, and agency submits its budgets, you have to get full audited accounts, or at least be able to explain the figures clearly in a robust manner of what you had spent the previous year. Then people will know it's no more business as usual. But it's a whole wide range. It's a wide range of issues. This is just as it relates to finance controls related functions.
So, as a quick win, how can technology help in this fight?
Very, very useful. At the end of the day, technology, of course, we talk about processing and time to get information. The situation we've had in the past is if you have someone who deliberately went into a transaction that led to suspicious situations, you know that information is not going to be available in the next 20 months. Then you are likely to get away with it. But if based on technologies, information, and use that information very well, that real time and quickly you can get it, then obviously it's something we should be looking at. It's a no-brainer anyway. We need to get there very fast.
Okay, so in getting there very fast, let's articulate a way forward. If you like to call it a 5-point agenda or a 3-point agenda, this is what Nigeria should be doing in the next couple of years down the line to ensure that we get our act right before 2030.
The tone at the top is very important. That has been set. The rest should follow what the president is doing and the immediate team. That is very, very important. But there should be a robust campaign of change in culture and attitude. That is very, very key. The man on the street needs to know this is the impact it has on me. Then we go to finance-related issues. Accountability is very key. I've heard a few things, rightly so, by some people saying, okay, at the end of the day, this government is all about change, but there are some budget head items that's still ridiculous. So it's incumbent on us to say, okay, let's be transparent about it. This is what it's for. And come 31st December, this is, at the end of the day, this is how we eventually ended up doing this. That is a no-brainer. Very, very key. You need to be transparent.
Okay.
And transparency sees you that, okay, yes, you are walking the talk.
Mr. Akpata, what do organizations such as yours, PricewaterhouseCoopers, intend to do to ensure that the government continues this anti-corruption drive on the right path? This
is one of these initiatives. At the end of the day, it's part of our thought leadership. We just came back, and I looked at, with all the talk going around about corruption and rest, we said, okay, PwC, let's see what's the real impact. And the second part of this paper, we're actually going to be looking at how, if you address some of these issues, there can be telling differences. Specifically, too, we're also trying to work with the Federal Inland Revenue Service to see how we can raise that level of tax to GDP. Cost of doing business in Nigeria, we are, I think, 169 out of 159 out of 179 countries. We need to change that. We need to change that. And our corruption index at 26%. 26%, when the higher countries are 90%, we need to quickly change that. A 1% change, positive change in that index contributes to 1.2% GDP growth rate.
Okay.
So when we begin to address those issues, then come 2013, then the impact on the GDP will be significantly improved.
So as I said, 2030 seems to be a long time away. What other immediate timelines are is PwC setting for itself to check on the government to see how much has been achieved before 2030?
Well, I mean, one of those things, as I said, if you look and say, at the end of the day, based on the total expenditure for this year, we're able to gain certain amounts. From this year, out of the over 200 agencies, ministries and agencies of government, we got at least half of them submitting their financial statements within a certain time. We provided with clarity available to everybody information on significant contentious budget-headed items. I mean, it just becomes part of us. It becomes a culture. And as we said, remember, this corruption is perception. So once that contributes to changing that perception, then hopefully we are setting, or we're in the right direction.
Thank you, Mr. Akwata, for coming on the program this morning and shedding more light on that PwC report. Of course, we'll also be talking more about that in the coming days.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Uyi Akwata is a country and regional senior partner with PricewaterhouseCoopers. They're giving us more perspectives on the latest corruption report put together by the PricewaterhouseCoopers. It's the impact of corruption on the Nigerian economy. Of course, the conversation continues online. If you missed out on today's show, you can watch it on youtube.com/channelsweb/businessmorning. I'm Harriet Agbinyi. Have a profitable day.